good morning, good morning, good morning. And I match Amber now. And happy sweet 16 to Pradeep. You will be younger, smoke more, and happy sweet 16 to STC conference. So I'm excited, privileged and honored. The second year in a row I'm here, and I feel very passionate about quality and testing always. I was going through the brief, and it says one sentence, I think, that struck me, where it says, letting go the beliefs and values of the past. Letting go the beliefs and values of the past that keep companies stuck in the present. Wonderful thought. And talking about past, I thought I'll start with something which may evoke some emotions and nostalgia among you. And I'll show a photo here of a phone. Can anyone recognize what is this? Which phone is it? Nokia 3310. How many of you had it? Wow, fantastic. I also had one. Let me test out another thing. How many of you had it for more than 4 or 5 years? More than 4 and 5 years. Okay, I can see few hands. Same question to all of you. Had Nokia 3310 for more than 5 years. How many of you have your last phone or had your last phone for more than 4 years? Only 1, 2, less hands, right? Let's see what Nokia 3310 is. Can you play the video, and then I come back to that question once again.
But the phone that best represents Nokia at its peak is the 3310, which came out in 2000. Nokia sold around 136 million of these phones. If you picture an old cell phone in your head, not quite Zach Morris, but definitely before smartphones, this is the phone that you're definitely seeing. It's blue, kind of a squat candy bar. It has silver keys and a tiny 84 pixel by 84 pixel monochrome screen. It's an incredible feat of engineering in that it's practically indestructible. Which sounds ridiculous, but it's true enough that it's become an internet meme. It survived being shot and being dragged for miles and miles behind a vehicle. You'd even see all these photoshopped cartoons of Frodo in Lord of the Rings taking a 3310 to Mordor to destroy it because that's the only way to do it. Nokia stopped selling the 3310 in 2005, but people still compare it to phones made today. Perhaps because we can only wish that current smartphones were just as unbreakable and just as reliable as that 3310 was.
So, this is what 3310. And we used to carry it for 4 years, 5 years without a problem. If I drop it, no issues. Even I remember my phone went into the water and it worked after it came out. It was so robust. And today I have some lovely phones, and every time I actually browse, I'm very careful so that it doesn't fall. And I do that even after wrapping it with the flip cover and everything. Okay, I'll show you. I have one here. I have 2 phones. See, how is it? It's, by the way, it's 1+ 3. It's a good phone. And then it's all wrapped around. But even now, if I do like this, I'm very worried. But not with Nokia 3310. So world is changing. World is changing. No longer we need things which will last for more than 3, 4, 5 years. We change our phones every 3 years. Every 3 years, average. We change our cars every 4 years on average. That's the world we are in. So, and I'm going to tell you something, and as you are in testing profession, you are in software industry, it would be very difficult to digest, perhaps. And I am going to tell you that we no longer build products that is built to last. We no longer build products that is built to last. because it's not required. Will change. Even you look at the software industry, every 3 years, 4 years, we come up with something new. The clients get into that bandwagon, and they start doing new things again. It happens, and that's why we thrive. So, that's the world. And if you are thinking that's happening in the car and manufacturing industry or in phone industry, you are wrong. You are wrong. It happens everywhere. And I like Dilbert because Dilbert is a classic. Dilbert is sarcastic, but what Dilbert says is also right most of the time. And can we show what Dilbert is saying here? If we build the software and we build it right with no bugs, we can make a 10% return on our investment. But if we do a poor job, we can make a 40% return by selling upgrades and services. Someone said Microsoft Windows. I did not say. But don't worry, we only have the budget for a poor job. Okay? We only have the budget for a poor job. So that's where we are today. And this is revealing. And very difficult to digest, but that's where we are. We don't build products, softwares, anything that build to last. We build it for 2-3 years because things are changing very fast, very fast. And that's the world economy. That's where we are today. Things are perpetually changing. New things coming up. And in that fast world, one thing does not change. Yes, you may have the product, the shelf life maybe 3 years, 4 years, but in that 3-4 years, the consumers and customers would expect that it work in a flawless fashion. So you have to be first, you have to adapt to that change, and you have to be flawless as well. And if you are not flawless, the impact of that is significant. You take example of, let's say, Samsung. What happened in Samsung? Samsung has been a darling. I also have a Samsung Note 2. And year after year, it challenged all the leading players in the mobile phone industry by bringing new innovative products every 3 to 4 months, not even years, every 3 to 4 months. Good design, good product, and it kept on racing for that innovation till it hit the Note 7 with a glitch in the battery, and that single glitch, because it's not flawless, it's fast but not flawless, that single glitch, the impact of that on Samsung's revenue is a staggering $17 billion. Single glitch, $17 billion. So the impact today is significant. And whenever you board a flight, you will hear an announcement. If you bring a Samsung Note 7, you are not welcome on board. What a branding. So beyond $17 billion, the damage to brand reputation because of that quality glitch is tremendous. High impact. And not only Samsung. Take Amazon. What happened with Amazon 1 pence glitch? How many of you are familiar with that? So what happened actually in 2014, around November time frame, Amazon, they have some brainwaves. So they had a brainwave that they will go and scan all the online retail sites and make sure their product is priced 1 pence lower than the lowest. 1 pence lower than the lowest. What do? We have a very smart software developer and testers. They kind of create the software and everything worked fine. But when it went into production, what happened? What happened is, instead of pricing it 1 pence lower than the competitor's lowest price, it priced all the product at 1 pence. And it was there, out there for 3-4 hours. And it was a frenzy. 1 pence. everything almost in that category perhaps. And of course they reverted it in 3-4 hours, but by the time they lost billions perhaps, billions. Now, when all this started, I talked about this build to last, it's no longer build to last. When all this started? Let me come back to that quickly. And I show you another picture here. It's a bulb. You don't see these bulbs at home or offices anymore, right? It's one of the bulbs kind of similar to what invented by Edison, right? What's so special about this bulb? What's so special? This was installed in Livermore, California Fire Department garage in 1901. Okay? So this bulb was installed there in 1901. And if you see you may not be able to see that there is a live cam from 2015. So it ran from 1901 to 2015. 115 years is running the same way. And it was decided in 2015 that it would be put to rest. Okay, it was still running. In the same bulb industry, and that's why I can relate this to bulb, in the same bulb industry, something happened in 1924 which changed this build to last philosophy. In 1924, some of the leading players in that industry, Philips, Osram, GE, all came together. They formed a cartel. They colluded. They formed a cartel. The cartel was known as Phoebus Cartel. And what they did, they mandated in that industry, in that ecosystem, no one can produce a bulb which runs more than 1,000 hours. They mandated. And it's called Phoebus Cartel. And very routinely, they will go and start penalizing and impose penalty on the manufacturers who will manufacture bulb with shelf life of more than 1,000 hours. And that cartel continued till World War II, till 1940. And that changed the philosophy. That's why you see today in our first world, it's no longer built to last. In our first world, we have Samsung coming up with new models. All the phone companies doing that. All the car companies are doing that. And we are in a fast lane, but we have to be flawless. I gave you the example of Amazon. There are other examples like Bloomberg. There was IT meltdown in 2015 April. 300,000 terminals got impacted. And those are the online trade terminals. 300,000 terminals. UK government was planning to sell a 3 billion pound bond. They had to stop. Huge impact. Now I am giving you a lot of negative examples. Let me change and give you a positive example. It happened very recently. November 11th, 2016. It's not a big day for India. It was a big day in China. Why? Any rings a bell? Sorry? It's Alibaba single day sales, shopping bonanza, November 11th. In the first hour, their platform, Alibaba's platform, got 175,000 transactions. 175,000 transactions per hour. No, sorry. 175,000 transactions per minute. No. it got 175,000 transactions per second. It scaled up, 175,000 transactions per second. Just imagine the scale. It worked. And during peak, Alibaba's wallet platform, Alipay, handled 120,000 transactions, payment transactions, 120,000 payment transactions per second. And end of the day, you know what was the revenue for that single day? $17.8 billion, single day, highest ever. It worked. It's a fantastic example of fast and flawless. Now you may be thinking, okay, all these examples are good, fine. What I have to do with that? What I need to do? Of course, you are doing a lot of things. You are learning new things. I heard from Pradeep that we have a new track here, Agile DevOps, which is fantastic. That's the new thing. All of us are learning. Testing is a lot about automation. I'm sure some of the case studies you will have here, sessions you will have, a lot of automation discussion. We are learning continuously, which is great. And if you ask me, in this fast changing world, where we have to be flawless, what we need, what you need as testers, as developers, as testers, what you need, I will say something little bit different. I'll say two things, and it may be a cliche. I'll say two things. One, you have to adapt to the change very quickly. You have to adapt to the change very quickly. And I think Pradeep was also mentioning that. And that is true for any individual as well as for any organization. You have to adapt to the change very quickly. Second, if you want to adapt or need to adapt, you cannot do it unless you have an open mind. Because the open mind is required for continuous learning. So the second is the continuous learning. That is very, very important. So you have to adapt quickly to the change, and you have to learn continuously. And you are doing that. It's great to see. That's why you are all here, learning, sharing. That's fantastic. And not only learning for the present, you have to learn for the future as well. Now, how do you learn for the future? That's a good question. I'm learning for the present because I see what is Agile, DevOps. These are all upcoming. I have to learn. I have to learn cloud, digital, automation, whatever not. I know what I need to learn now. How do I know what I need to learn for the future? I started asking that question to myself. And then I kind of developed a hypothesis. And I'm still developing that hypothesis. But I'll risk myself, in a way, by telling you that half-cooked hypothesis and see if it makes any sense or not. My hypothesis is that what is happening in the software industry, what is becoming mainstream in software industry today, many of these, the genesis of it, many of these actually comes from manufacturing and defense and space research 5-10 years back. Okay? So in a way I'm arguing, my hypothesis is, what is happening in manufacturing and defense and space research today, it happens or becomes a mainstream in software industry 5-10 years down the line. And I'll give you an example. Toyota pioneered total quality management somewhere in 1980s. We started talking more about software quality in 1990s. You heard how CMMI all came to defense, NASA and all this. Back in 1984 or a little bit earlier, it started becoming mainstream in software industry in 1995 onwards. Today in software industry, we talk a lot about automation. Go back in manufacturing industry. Automation actually started taking place rapidly. Automation, robot-enabled manufacturing and all this started happening around 2000. That's happening in software industry today. I'll give you another example. Today, back in 2004-05, there was a lot of talk about continuous manufacturing, continuous development, deployment in manufacturing. Today, agile DevOps is nothing but continuous development deployment. That's happening today. That's my hypothesis. Now, if you see that hypothesis is true, then I should go back and check what's happening in manufacturing today or what's happening in space and science research today. And I happen to check the site of DARPA. Anyone familiar with DARPA? It's Defense Advanced Research Project Association. And DARPA is actually mother of many inventions like internet and so many other things. You should go and check what they're doing. So I checked what they're doing now. And what I found out, a project they posted on 28th of November, just 3 days back, they posted one project on their website. And you will go and you will find it out yourself as well. It's about human-machine interaction design for optimization for a secured environment. That's the project they are working on now. Human-machine interaction, they want to optimize the design towards secured environment. That's the project they are working on now, just as an example. And it makes a lot of sense because see, all around us, it's about machines, IoT, sensor. It is becoming more and more prevalent. Everywhere it is. Everywhere it is. And security will be a big concern, very big concern. And the stakes would be much, much higher. Much higher. Just imagine, you are driving an electric car, let's say Tesla, driving at a full speed in a highway, and someone hacks your car and takes away the control. It may happen. People are actually doing some ethical hacking on that now today, trying to break that system. There are a lot of videos out there in YouTube. And you may think it happens in movie. So let me show you a movie clip then. It's from Spider-Man. I hope you like it. It's a little bit scary. Can you?
You have a train to catch.
So the villain takes away the control and you have a plane to catch, or train to catch rather. It may happen in real world. And if you are still dreaming that it may not happen, let me show you the next clip. This is from San Francisco, happened last weekend only.
Ticketing booths were out of service and passengers got free rides all day on Saturday after San Francisco's metro system was hacked. Officials have launched an investigation into who's behind the cyber attack.
Transit service was not impacted by this incident. Our safety systems are intact, but we are working extremely hard to find out exactly what we're dealing with.
Officials would not say what the hackers wanted in return. Passengers using the subway system on Saturday thought the open metro gates were a Thanksgiving promotion.
So I just figured It's free day.
As of Sunday, all the fare machines were up and running again.
So you see, it's happening in real life now. It's a reality today. It's a reality today. And the impact is much, much higher. And the stakes are even larger. Because in this world of sensors and IoT, it's no longer about billion-dollar loss, because this sensor and IoTs are everywhere. It's in our home, in our car, in our office, in the public transport. And guess what? Even now or going forward more and more, it will be within our body. There are pacemakers now which transmit signals to and remotely monitor to see how it is working. Google is working with Novartis on a contact lens, which will control the diabetes in a way. And many of these would be remotely controlled, and think that something happens with it. Hacking, malware, security threat. We're no longer talking about a billion-dollar loss or multi-billion-dollar loss. We are talking about human life, the human life loss. And it's everywhere. When you perhaps talk to a call center today, we don't realize. Many times we are talking to something called chatbot, okay? And it's very human. You won't even realize you are not talking to a call center agent, you are talking to a machine, you will not realize. So the world is becoming like that. And the impact is significantly higher with human life is at stake. And as a software developer and tester, you have a job to do now. Because tomorrow you will not just handle system, which is like a platform, just maybe doing some transactions. We are talking about software and platform that's all connected, even with human life going forward as well. And that's why DARPA is doing that research. And you have a job to do. You have a job to do. Because like Spider-Man, you are the last line of defense. You have a job to do.
You have a train to catch.
We're slowing down.
So you have a job to do. And tomorrow morning when you wake up fresh, I hope you will have some powerful reflections. We are no longer in a world where we build things that will last forever. It's planned obsolescence. That's how we build things, planned obsolescence. In the world, in our world, things will be very fast and changing, always changing, perpetually changing, continuously changing. In that world, you will reflect that you have to be fast, you have to learn, you have to adapt fast, you have to learn continuously, learn first, and you have to be flawless. Because we have a lot at stake in your hand. If you don't catch that one software glitch, it will no longer impact someone's revenue. It will impact human life going forward in all connected world. you have a job to do. And as tester, you are, I believe you are, the last line of defense. You are the last hope. You are the last line of defense. Each of you are that Spider-Man. Each of you have a job to do. And if you have that powerful reflections tomorrow morning when you wake up, then I'll thank you for listening to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you.